Hi, my name is Mark DeSantis, and I'm a remote junior fellow working from Chester, PA. I've recently graduated from Cheyney University of Pennsylvania with a bachelor's in communication studies, and my presentation is on the background of poetry found within the Daniel Murray collection. Today, I'm here to talk about Daniel A.P. Murray, the second ever African-American to be hired by the Library of Congress. If you look to the right of the slide, you'll see some basic information about him. Daniel Murray was not originally a library worker. He had been recruited by the sixth librarian of Congress, Ainsworth Rand Spofford, who recognized his talent while he served them at a restaurant. Starting with a part-time position, he worked his way up to assistant librarian. During this time at the library, he would begin to find literary works for and by Black authors to showcase their literary achievements. My project will go over two poems in his collection and how they show us how important it is to investigate the background of what we read. By doing so, we can gain a deeper understanding and greater appreciation for the work he has recovered, and as an example of what great finds are to be found within. Starting off with the first poem, Light Beyond the Darkness by Francis E.W. Harper. There are different sets of poems in this. The first is called The Voodoo Prophecy, which offers the perspective of an African-American angry and wanting revenge after being enslaved and brought to America against their will, while Frances Harper responds with her own poem, A Fairer Hope, A Brighter Morn, as a rebuttal, in which she argues that they should rather try and work together and move forward from the wrongs they have experienced, and it is okay to feel upset, but maybe not get absorbed in that anger. The second poem, Monody of the Death of Francis Johnson by R. Douglas Jr. is a lamentation of the death of Francis Johnson. It focuses on topics of music and community, personal connection, which is to be expected for a poem on the death of what seems like a local prominent musician. Now, for poetry as a medium for storytelling, there are three aspects of these poems that stood out to me: the use of evocative language, imagery, and historical meaning. I have trouble telling emotions sometimes, but with the way language was used here, every word tugged on my heart more and more the further I went into each poem. The poem's imagery only added to it, especially in Light Beyond the Darkness. The use of imagery in this poem is a step above a lot of what I've read. One line in particular, my back still burns, I bear my bleeding breast. I set my face, my limbs I brace, by Maurice Thompson in Voodoo Prophecy. By contrast, Monody of the Death of Francis Johnson deeply influenced the way I look at African Americans' contribution to most of America's musical genres, because I was never really taught too much in the first place and had learned through my time at Cheyney the contribution to jazz and rock. But for it to stretch so far back was mind-blowing. It reminded me of how little we recognize the talent from minorities in the beginning of our nation. Now, Frances Harper, who you can see on the right, was one of the founding members of the American woman suffrage movement. On top of this, she was one of the first African-American women to publish a novel titled Lola Leroy that dealt with topics such as race and class. And Monody of the Death of Francis Johnson is about a musician, but not just any musician. Johnson was the first African-American to have published sheet music in America. The picture on the left is of that piece, Bingham's Cotillion, which was written between the date of 1810 to 1815. He was a musician who played annually on George Washington's birthday. Now, I had three takeaways from this presentation. The power of context. By delving into historical context of the poetry, we're better able to appreciate and understand the way it was written and the emotions behind the words. The voices in each poem. By comparing the different poets, we're able to see the different viewpoints, and through that, even able to tell the varying styles of poetry at the time, enhancing our view of poetry throughout the years. Viewing the collection. Even though the two poems offer a glimpse into the collection, it doesn't capture all the emotions and different themes in the collection waiting to be read. I would now like to thank the Library of Congress, the IFP, and Deanna for allowing me this amazing opportunity to study and learn under the faculty and to present this to you all.